So pretending that these are already topped, lay them out like this and give them enough space for them to actually get good air blowing in the center. Like if these we bake off for 3.5 minutes. If we do that, and imagine if this is completely full all the way across, how many pizzas can we churn out? Our busiest location is on average during the summer about 65,000 a week in sales.
Wow, is that just pizza?
How did Triple Beam Pizza grow so fast? One of their locations does over 500 or 600 pizzas a day. Juan, the operations manager, is gonna show us around one of the locations, and he's gonna show us exactly how they operate this pizzeria. Juan's a very analytical, numbers-driven person, and he's very organized. He has a system and a process for everything, and that's how they organize this vast operation that they have, and that's how one of their stores can do over $65,000 in just 1 week, selling only pizza. Juan's gonna show us around, show us everything. He doesn't hold anything back. He tells us all the secrets, spills all the beans. If you're looking to grow your pizza shop, this is gonna be the episode you want to save and come back and listen to multiple times. So let's get into this episode of the Pizzeria Insider.
Thanks so much for having me here. This is great.
Thanks, man. It was a pleasure meeting you last month.
I know, actually you inspired me to get these. So I have these, I'm gonna put these on in a minute. Me and Juan are gonna be twinning. But these are great. These are these meta glasses. We talked about this. So many people reached out to me after we did that podcast episode because they're like, that's a brilliant idea with recording these and then putting them on YouTube, which is what you do here at Triple Beam, right?
Correct. Yeah. So what I do with these are multiple things. I use them for social media, for both Triple Beam and myself. Obviously, personal stuff like going out with my kids and whatnot, not having to hold my phone all the time.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about it is being able to do all of the training videos for the kitchen managers.
That's great. How long have you been working here?
I've been with Triple Beam for about 5.5 years.
And what's your role?
I'm the corporate chef for all of Triple Beam. So I take care of anything kitchen related, whether it's culinary, kitchen development, growth in doing the kitchen layout and making sure that everything runs efficient, equipment ordering, working with purveyors. As right now, I'm working on an RFP for the whole company, not just for Triple Beam, but everything underneath our corporate umbrella.
What's that for people who don't know what that is?
Triple Beam Pizza is an entity within from 4 owners. And within those 4 owners, they also have other restaurants. So through all of them, if I consolidate all of the buying power that we have as a whole group, it gives us more volume and buying power to be able to get a better price for all of our items. If we also work on consolidating the brands that we utilize and we all come to an agreement. So from there, I spearhead the process with all different purveyors. Typically do about 3 to 4 rounds, takes about a month and a half or so to be able to lock that in. Typically, I only work with 2 main purveyors and 1 or 2 that are backups. Other than that, it's all consolidated between those 2. And it's knowing how to get your items and being able to separate them so you don't give all your max power to just one company and then this comes up over here.
How many locations are there total?
Currently we have, Highland Park, which is our original location, Echo Park, then it was Santa Monica, no correction, it was Glendora, which is where our commissary is located. That's about an 8,000 or 10,000 square foot location.
Wow.
That has a commissary facility, but it has for lack of better terms, a cloud kitchen attached to it. We used to have a location in BMO Stadium, but now we're actually just in the suites for both LAFC and for Angel City, and we do a couple of other events here and there for catering.
Are they all similar to this style?
No, this is actually, because it's the most recent location, this is a different design layout that we're working on. We got this location because our commissary is in Glendora again, which is on the far east side of LA County. What we do there is we do all of our sauces, dressings, vinaigrettes, as I mentioned before, with pasteurizations and all that stuff, with the intent of being able to use it within the 2-day process. All of our Biancos that we do that are 38 by 10, we do those there, and we typically do batches of about 2,000 pounds during the beginning of the week.
Wow.
And about 4,500 pounds on the weekends. So once we do that, we have a delivery truck that goes to all of our locations and they distribute 7 nights. And it's also one of those locations that when you go into a new area with your business, you always want to make a bigger splash if possible. So you want to have a location that has more to offer.
It must be deceivingly big, because from outside, it doesn't look like there's 6,000 square feet here.
Totally. So this used to be a Noah's Bagels back in the day.
Oh, okay.
So they used to have their bread production in the back and all that stuff. That's why it's so long.
So we're in Santa Monica, the beach is right there, so.
Yeah, the beach is literally like about 2 blocks, and a block and a half at the most.
This is a great location.
Yeah.
And you guys serve Roman style pizza?
Yeah, all we do
Roman-inspired?
is Roman style pizza. So there's 3 types of Roman style pizza. Tonda, which is a round, very thin type pizza, very airy. And then there's al teglia and there's alla palla. The difference between al teglia and alla palla essentially is that al teglia goes on a pan into the oven, and alla palla actually gets stretched and accordioned onto a peel, and it goes directly onto the stone, which is why we get those 36 by 10 crusts. And then we cut those in half, and that's essentially our whole pizza, which is an 18 by 10.
So does the dough get shipped here cooked?
Yeah, it's already baked off, so let me show you. So what happens here is through the commissary, this is how we deliver our Biancos.
Oh, okay, so this is a full-size pizza. So if someone ordered a whole pizza, that's what they get?
Correct. This is one whole pizza, but they come out of the oven that long.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at the commissary, they come out looking like this whole pizza.
Correct. So once they cool down throughout the day, in the afternoon, we'll start packaging them, which is 50 to a tote, and then we charge the restaurants as such.
So each restaurant, it's almost like the commissary is its own business.
It's its own entity. So our commissary is nonprofit. All we do is we charge everything food cost-wise cost.
That's interesting. So it runs as a nonprofit, it just needs to break even.
Yes, correct. And if it breaks even within $5,000, I believe, or I think they raised it to 10,000 profit or loss at the end of the year, it gives you a big tax write-off because, so that's how we operate it. So the labor is charged separately from the food. And like everything that has to do with rent, electricity, all of that jazz gets consolidated along with, for example, the labor and everything else. It gets reduced down per week, and then that gets carried out to the restaurants on a separate note, which typically can be laid out before or after prime cost.
So each individual pizzeria buys all the ingredients at a predetermined price.
And that falls under food cost. We have an ordering system through the company with that from all of our sister restaurants that might want to utilize our dressings or our focaccias, for example.
Right.
They'll submit an order at the commissary. It comes out as a receipt, and it comes out on the monitor, just as we do with one of these toast items. And that's how at the commissary, then they also package it as well to be able to get all the assembled orders done. So when the driver comes in the evening, double checks it, loads it into the truck, and then takes off. The commissary ends up being the heart of your company.
Do you guys deliver yourself?
Yeah, we deliver ourselves.
So
everything is
truck
internal.
delivered to each store.
Yeah, we lease a delivery truck.
Well, that's good to know. That's interesting about the whole commissary as a nonprofit.
So the way it works is, so the Biancos, typically we have cooling racks here. We got our Biancos. This is our assembly line. The order will come in here. We'll say, okay, here are our sauces and our cheeses to start off with. And then all of our toppings are set here. Then we just lay everything out here. Obviously, these aren't set up yet. And then we have our gluten-free crust that we make at our commissary from scratch.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, those as well. Those we keep obviously to the bottom because we only open it for that. And this one actually has a seal on the bottom, so nothing falls into it.
Excellent.
As well as our vegan cheese. Again, what ends up happening is they'll assemble their orders and they go straight into the conveyor.
And you got 3 Lincoln, are those?
Yeah, these are the 32-inch Lincoln Impinger, the big boys. In the spirit of growth and efficiency, in my opinion, conveyors are the way to go. We use these to roast vegetables. We use these for so many things because this is more of a direct heat versus indirect heat, meaning that direct heat is that it's blowing hot air directly onto product, and indirect is, for example, a deck oven. It's just the ambient temp is hot. So it's just sitting in a hot oven versus getting hot air blasted onto it, which helps you char, roast things a little bit better.
But I always thought when you use a conveyor oven, it may decrease the quality. Mm-hmm. And then I ate at Sicily's Pizza in Detroit. Yeah. And he made a sourdough pizza, but I think he used this oven, this similar oven. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was something similar to this. Mm-hmm. The pizza was phenomenal.
Yeah, man, it works great. And
changed my mind.
Yeah, dude, I'll make you some pizza later, and you're gonna notice that when it comes out, you wouldn't know that it comes out of a conveyor because you get the vegetables nice and roasted. And again, it's because of the prep step and making sure that the roasts are done properly at the right temperature at the right time. The time and temperature, I for the most part, keep it always the same.
Do all these 3 ovens at the same time?
These all are, because once it's cranking, so these big boys, these are the 32 inches, the biggest ones that Lincoln has. These we only have at our busiest locations because the size that we have on our Biancos, we can do a long one. Here, let me show you.
Yeah.
So pretending that these are already topped, you can lay them out like this and give them enough space for them to actually get good air blowing in the center.
Oh, yes.
Now multiply, like if these we bake off for 3.5 minutes. If we do that, and imagine if this is completely full all the way across, how many pizzas can we churn out? So our busiest location is on average during the summer about 65,000 a week in sales.
Wow.
Imagine.
Is that just pizza?
And just pizza and some salads that I already showed you.
No alcohol though?
It just has beer and wine, but it's a very, very small percentage of
That's
it.
a lot of money for our weekly sales.
And so, which is why we do so much production at the restaurant level. I mean, at the commissary level.
That's crazy.
And that's...
Which location is that?
That's our Highland Park location, which is only about 1,700 1,800 square feet.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man.
That's a good sales number. Great sales number for 1,700
Per
square
square
feet.
footage. This is our current menu right now. We typically run with 12 different pizza options.
How often do you change those?
I change those with every season. Okay. So aside from every season, I also do specials. So like once the customers come in and they start asking for different pizzas, or they go on Instagram and we could post something completely different and they'll just go into the comments, be like, bring back the potato pizza or this one. So for like a week or two, we'll add those little specials in between. Or if we have promotions, like for example, this coming Saturday, actually, we're going to be at Just Like Heaven, which is a big music festival at the Rose Bowl.
Okay.
And then the week after that, we're at Cruel World, same location. So once we do special pizzas for those type of events, we'll put them on for a week and then do like promotions and being able to give away tickets, things like that.
Got it. And you have up top too, I can see up top, you have kind of how someone could think about ordering when they walk in, because I'm sure they aren't, I mean, most average pizza eaters probably aren't super familiar with Roman style pizza.
They're not. A lot of it's something that's relatively new to the States.
So they probably come in and be like, can I just get a large pizza or a small pizza?
Yes. Yeah. Or they're asking for a Supreme.
Yeah.
It's like, so then we start explaining the situation and we start showing them pizzas as they're coming out as well to get an idea. And they're like, whoa. So part of what I do is I always make sure that there's different types of pizzas that attract the palate. So there's some spicy, some sweet, some bitter, some sours, some meaties, but primarily if you see the menu, it's about 75% vegetarian. So I've been here for 5.5 years. I was at Pitfire Pizza for 10 years. I started as their commissary manager. Then I started as a kitchen manager after that. Then I became a regional and working in other locations, and then I became their corporate chef. That's where I found my passion for pizza, but that was Neo-Napolitano, that was full-blown pasta stations and salads and garde-manger, the whole 9 yards. So that one was awesome, and then that's when I jumped in here. But that's why I like to keep it a little bit tighter, because again, in the spirit of making it efficient and being a pizzeria, I just wanted to elevate and make something different.
Yeah, that's great. Smaller menus are easier to train people on too. Like if you have someone that's new to come in here, teaching them how to make 10 or 15 different things is a lot easier than 100.
The basis of the commissary is to be able to essentially eliminate as much inconsistency as possible. Instead of each location having to do their own dressings, vinaigrettes, sauces, the dough, that helps you get everything coming out of one pot, one batch from 1 to 2 people during the week. At the commissary that only do that, is not only does it help you reduce costs, it helps you eliminate those inconsistencies, and then having to get all that equipment at each location, having to train those skills and people that can actually grasp those skills to do it. And then what happens? You lose someone and then you're hiccuping, or you're having to, as an owner or an operator, having to fill that void for X amount of time until not only do you find someone, having the ability to train them to the point that then you can say, okay, I'm comfortable disconnecting.
Right.
So that's the focus in doing something that's multi-unit, like triple beam. If you don't have all that equipment and the spiral mixer at each location, that reduces costs in having to repair, maintenance, and as well in having to purchase that equipment and having the square footage for all that extra stuff as well.
Ultimately, you probably have less people, right?
A lot. Again, there's one person back there.
That's all they're doing back there?
That's all. It's one person every opening shop, and you'll see that all he's doing is just roasting vegetables. He already did an order that's going to go out for catering at 11:30 for about like 20 pizzas. And he's by himself doing everything, again, because the commissary delivered the bread, the sauces, the dressings, the vinaigrettes, the pre-shredded cheeses. So all they're focused on is portioning, roasting, as we all know in the restaurant industry, me doing it for 23 years, is if you don't start the day off in the right manner in the morning, it's a domino effect that goes all the way throughout the day.
Very much.
So you have to make sure, and if you need your very high execution level points to be done in the prep moment, you need to have high level people doing your production so it can lay it out for everyone. And then if everyone else just has to worry about building and executing, and especially through a conveyor, it reduces your costs so much.
So it's like big, long line.
Yeah, man, it's efficient too, because when you're designing a kitchen is always knowing that you have to make your food start at the back of the kitchen and work its way out to the customer. So everything arrives through the back dock area and it goes into the walk-in. From the walk-in, it gets prepped, roasted, cooled down, but then it goes into the middle kitchen to be able to get baked off for the customer. And then it goes to the front and out it goes. It doesn't have to keep doing this.
I like it. I like that. Yeah, do you do delivery here?
Yeah.
Do you use DoorDash or the third party, or do you do your own?
We only utilize DoorDash. And for us, we only utilize one company and that's it. Typically, again, if you, going back to the buying power reference with production, if you have, like for us, we're about 75% delivery. So going back to the 65K, let's say a week in sales during summer at our Highland Park location, fathom the notion of 75% of that 65K is all delivery.
Is it really?
Yeah, wow. And that's just one location.
Wow.
Then we have our other locations that produce not quite much, but close to those amounts. And it's only 4 locations. But if you consolidate it to one company, that buying power gets you reductions in delivery costs, all that jazz. And I completely understand the idea of getting multiple third-party delivery services because you're going to get more orders coming in.
Right, more exposure, they say.
Correct. But then your delivery charges are through the roof as well. And sometimes people aren't set to be able to handle that much production if you're lucky enough to be able to get to that point. But you're diluting all that buying power versus focusing it to one. And what that does is one company can give you a lot more money for marketing purposes within it. They can give you a reduced delivery charge. They know that they're making money off of you, so you become an investment to them. When you do it in that manner and it's not broken down so much, those are my point of views.
Yeah.
That's why I only work with very few vendors for that same reason.
Yeah. People ask me that all the time. Should we do our own delivery drivers or should you use your own third party? I mean, I think there's pros and cons to both. Mm-hmm. But I know from experience, if you're a busy shop and you have your own delivery drivers, it's a separate business that you have to manage.
It really is. It's a lot more moving parts, man. Yeah. Instead of juggling 2 or 3 balls, you're juggling like 7, 8 of them at the same time.
There's no set oven. There's no set business plan. There's no set business layout. Like there's suggestions and you can see what other people are doing. But if you're starting your own pizza shop, you have to think about what kind of pizzas you want to make. What kind of style of pizzeria do you want to have? Do you want to do delivery drivers? Do you want to take on that? Everybody wants a set answer, but I don't think there's any set answer. It's kind of, you figure it out kind of as you go. What's one piece of advice you'd give someone looking to start a pizza shop?
Make sure that you have enough tools in your toolbox. Everyone wants to run right away, but you need to understand that as much as like here that I like to educate people and train and build them. There's only so much that I can give, so much knowledge that I can give you without skipping the day-to-day stuff. Because there's a lot of little tools that you pick up that you can add into your toolbox of knowledge throughout those day-to-day things. Make sure that you have your toolbox as full as possible. So when you come into it, you can do as much of it on your own without having to pay people to have to do it for you.
Right, I love that. Potato pizza, here we go. Potato, mushroom. Juan explain these a lot better than I'm gonna. I'm just gonna explain how good they taste. He can explain what's on them. You know what I'm saying? All right, here we go. These are really thinly sliced potatoes, so they're not overly heavy. Look how thin that thing is. And then I'm gonna do the mushroom one. Conveyor oven too. Interesting. Ooh, I like that one. That was pre-cooked those, right?
Yeah, we roast some. We pass them through the oven like about 3 times.
Do you really?
And then we squeeze out all of the excess moisture so it doesn't get the pizza soggy.
Sometimes you get mushrooms and they're watery on the pizza and they get like a big puddle on there.
Oh yeah, we like really press all that out.
This is really good. The mushrooms are great. The potato pizza was bomb too.
If you have room for one more, try one of those.
Yeah, I gotta try that.
Yeah, that one seems to be a very, 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 very big favorite.
Look at the pineapple. The pineapple's cut thin too. The potatoes, you did a great job cutting because they're cut thin.
Yeah.
So they're not chewy when you eat them. They're real soft still.
You don't get like that French fried texture to it, or like a home fried potato.
All right, so I'm gonna try this one. This
try it
one's
out.
the jalapeno, prosciutto, hot and fresh. I like the pineapple spin too.
We cut them up, we slice them up, and we lay them out on the sheet pan, and then we do salt, pepper, powdered sugar, and olive oil in that order.
And they're sliced pretty thin.
Yeah, we do them thin because as much as I like to have like a steak bite, if it's too thick, then all you're gonna get is just pineapple and you won't be able to taste everything else.
All right, gotcha. I'm gonna try to get this piece right here where I got the jalapeno, the pineapple, and the prosciutto all in one.
Simple, but
Yeah, it's great. None of the individual flavors overpower the other.
yeah, and that's like I mentioned, that's the whole thing is like when we build it, you'll see that the jalapenos are they're all laid out next to pineapple. They're not scattered on top of it. Because again, when you roast the pizza through the oven, if it's on top, it's gonna make the pineapple spicy as well, and then you don't really get that separation of flavor.
Yeah, so you get the sweetness of the pineapple, the saltiness of the prosciutto, and then you get at the end you get a little bit of that kick from the jalapeno, but it's fresh jalapeno.
Yeah, it's all fresh jalapeno,
Yeah.
all fresh pineapple and jalapenos.
But you don't roast the jalapenos, right? You just put them on
those
fresh.
are on the raw.
Yeah, I like
those
that.
are on the raw because I like them to have a nice little bite.
Yes.
And if fresh jalapeno is pre-roasted, even if you do a very thin layer, the oils escape, and then once you bake them off, they don't crisp up the same anymore, and they change into like almost like a brownish green color versus them being fresh also where they stay more vibrant.
I like that. Make it that last bite.
Thanks so much for watching the Pizzeria Insider. This episode with Juan was one of my favorite ones I've recorded so far. The pizza was amazing. Juan is doing a great job with Triple Beam, and watch out for Juan doing some cool stuff moving forward in the future. We may bring it to you here on the Slice YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit subscribe, hit like, and leave a comment below where you're watching this from. I'd love to see where people are hanging out with us watching these videos. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.